Good if I had the speaker. Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for another Chelsea news show for you guys. Been again a little bit quiet this week, hence why we've not been on too much again. We're still waiting for the Caicedo news to sort of heat up and pick up on that and any other related news in regards to Chelsea. But we are going to talk about Dybala, Caicedo, Pulisic. Who else have we got to talk today? Levi Colwill, Conor Gallagher, Trevor Chalobah. Lots of little bits to go through today, actually. And in between all of this, we'll be trying to keep you up to speed with any breaking news that may occur as well. Quick favour, though, guys. You know what I'm going to ask? Smash them likes. We've got the panel coming in again. The original panel coming in again later on as well to join us. So, guys, please share. It is so big and key that we keep sharing this out to as many people as possible. I hope you guys are all well wherever it is that you are. We'll be going through the chat in a second to say hello to every single one of you as well. But before we move forward, guys, let's cue that intro. Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for another Chelsea news show for you guys as well. Hope you guys are all well wherever it is that you are across the world. Make sure you're smashing the likes, as I've always said as well. Lots to sort of catch up on, shall we say, in regards to Chelsea Football Club. So we're going to be doing that for today. I'm hoping that things are going to start heating up going into next week. Obviously, pre-season is round the corner as well, so we'll be going through that as well. Nearly 100 of you guys here already combined. So big love to every single one of you guys. 100 people nearly here already. So big love to every single one of you that are here. Ashraf says, check Pies. What's Pies said? Let's go. I'm going to come through the chat in a second. What's Pie saying? What is the Pie saying? What's this? Nothing to do there, but there's little bits on Caicedo that we're going to go through that just came out, interestingly enough. So that will go into the list of stuff that I've got to go through today as well. So that'll be there. There was an interview taken with Moises Caicedo, just to keep you very briefly in it, which basically you don't really see much of it, really. It kind of gets cut out, but sorry, guys, I've gone quiet because things are happening. Things are happening, which I'm trying to put together with you guys. Keep writing up the likes, guys. Keep writing up the likes. That would be great if you can do that. It's just to do with Caicedo. So I'm just checking something. So, okay, so interesting. So, I mean, there's not much to that, but again, it's relatively new because he's had an interview today with, I think, a report. I'm not sure where the report was from, whether it's Ecuadorian or whatever, but something. So we'll come to that in a second. Big love to every single one of you guys that are currently here as well. Nearly 100 of you guys here. Let's go through the chat and say hello to every single one of you guys, as we always do. Big up Leo. How are you, my bro? Nice to see you. Gary says, yeah, we're going to get to Pulisic in a bit. That's one that we will be talking about today. Honestly, I think 100 million is fair for Caicedo, better than Rice, is what Ryan says. We're going to talk about Caicedo a bit later in the show as well. Ashraf, what do people always call me when... I mean, I'm like, in these meetings. They never call me before. Call me when I'm doing the same. Apparently, Dybala is renewing media use Chelsea's names to use to get up his wages. We're going to talk about Dybala at some point today as well. I've done that. Big up to the Blue Lounge, Mo. How you doing, my brother? Nice to see you in the chat as well. Big love to you, my man. Greetings, everyone. Big up, Dell. Nice to see you, Nikki. Chelsea should have signed Caicedo before the Rice deal. Potentially, maybe. I don't think that would have been possible because I think the Rice deal was a lot further ahead than the one that Chelsea are trying to do with Caicedo. So it was always going to be harder for us to get that done. And obviously, I think Brighton have played it quite clever. I mean, not on football fairness. So we'll get to that. Let's just pay the money, is what Akko's saying. Caicedo is great talent and very good player. However, 100 million for a player that has had one good season in the Premier League is ridiculous. He's played 2 seasons in the Premier League. 2. Not 1. We'll talk about that. Matty has been waiting for this day. If you guys know Matty, I've known Matty for a long time. He's been waiting for the day that Christian Pulisic leaves this club. So the fact that it looks like it's coming to the end of him moving over to AC Milan, which we're going to be talking about very soon as well. Yeah, I bet he's happy with that. Are you worried Caicedo takes so long? Good question, Ashraf. We're going to talk about that in a bit. I don't want to sort of start talking about it now when it relates to a bit later on. Pay the 100 mils what we got here as well. Come on, you Blues from down under. Big up Pokemon World Australia. How are you, my brother? Nice to always see you in the building. Told you would be lucky to get 20 mil for Pully. Well, I thought we should have got at least about 25, but it looks like we're getting around 19 million for him. So we're going to get into that in a second. Big up Sosa as well. Guys, nearly 150 of you beautiful people here. Nice to see all of you. Can't wait for Biscuits to leave. Oh, guys, you're cracking me out. So a lot of people agreeing Christian Pulisic's leaving as well is a great thing. Right, so let's move into the stuff that we've got to get on with today. Guys, keep smashing the likes as well. I'd massively appreciate if you could do that. Just a quick one on Azpilicueta. Obviously, he announced he was leaving Chelsea yesterday over an interview. Very teary, very upset. I put up a tweet in regards to the player as well and said, well, you know, this is what you call a real legend, someone that's won it all at this football club. Been a great servant, but at the same time was the right time for him to leave, right? Because we could all see that him as a player was declining due to age. But the one thing I would say about Azpilicueta as a defender over the years at Chelsea is I think he's probably been one of the best one-on-one defenders that I have seen in the Premier League for a very long time. His level of performances every week in his prime were unbelievable. He'd always put an 8 or a 9 out of 10 performance in. You know, anyone that didn't like Azpilicueta, I don't get it. I really don't get the motive of it, I'll be honest with you, because he was one of the legends and he deserves to be known as one of the legends of this football club. At the end of the day, he's won everything. He's one of the only players or the only player that's won every single trophy available to this club. So, you know, big love to Azpilicueta. You always go down as one of the greats, in my opinion, of this football club. And has been a great servant. And that is, like I said, what you call a true legend. A true legend. True legend in Azpilicueta, man. What a player he honestly was. Honestly. Big up Vic in the building. How you doing, Sosa? Nice to see you as well. You're Dan. Gary. Deals. What you saying, bro? For the Wrexham. Big up to Deals, man. Nice to see you, my man. So, yeah, Azpilicueta. Big love, my man. Good luck to your next move. He also said that he wants to come back to Chelsea and have some sort of important role at some point in his career after he finishes and retires from football. So let's see. Maybe Azpilicueta will return in some sort of way to this football club further down the line. Big love to him. Nearly 150 of you guys here. Big love to every single one of you guys. I know it's a very hot and beautiful day today, so very hard for people to maybe be sitting at home today, which is fair enough, and work. But we're going to move on to the captaincy quickly. And the captaincy role involving the news in and around Reece James. Reece James trained all summer to get head start before pre-season. Began this week. His long-term ambition is to become Chelsea captain, which is still in sights. There's a column from Simon Johnson on that as well. Listen, I think with Reece James, and it might preferably work for him going into next season, the fact that he's not going to have to play as many games is going to be a huge importance to him in his fitness, in him being able to recover fully. Because I always feel that when you come back from an operation, an injury, we've seen it with players in the past, and then you're thrown into every game of every week, twice a week, 3 times a week, like we've been doing, it catches up, you know. And the good thing for next season is a lot of these players, even maybe you can throw in Kunku in this as well, because he's been in a long-term injury. The fact that they've only got to play once a week for a little while, or most of the season, barring when there's cup games, and you know, be on the training ground a lot more, making, you know, strengthening their weaknesses in the gym, training hard with Poch, which we understand Poch is going to be putting through rigorous training sessions. We're going to bring him up to a real standard, and this is what we need, right? And you know, Poch was never really my first choice. We know this, but in terms of what will he bring to Chelsea? I think he, like I keep saying, he'll bring an identity, a system. He'll get them trained. It will drill them, and it's for the first time we can actually probably say we've actually got someone in here that is a manager that they will have to take serious. That's someone that will demand them to be at their best 100% all the time, you know. And what we saw under Graham Potter, what we saw under Frank Lampard, I don't feel was that, you know, in many ways. So, yeah, I'm happy for Reece James to be a captain. How about you guys? If Reece James wants to be the captain, I would be more than happy for him to do that, provided he can keep himself fit and he's available and he's on the pitch a lot more than he is on the injury bench. Then it makes a lot more sense. Ruthless, how you doing, man? Nice to see you. I'm Mac. Nice to see you as well. Who else we got here? Nixon, nice to see you. Isn't worth 100 mil. We're going to get to that in a second. It's a little bit more relating to this, and it just goes to back what we were saying in regards to Thiago Silva as well, because obviously the moves or the noise in and around is that Pochettino will decide the new captain soon. There is a theory that Silva will get the nod with James as a vice. So I think I get that. Originally, I thought, you know what, Reece James as captain makes sense, but at the end of the day, Thiago Silva's near the end of his near the end of his career. This might be his last season at Chelsea, right? And I think with Reece James, I think he needs to concentrate more on just getting himself as physically fit and ready and available and constant, right? And I think giving him a season to do that is probably the right thing to do. And then going into next season, if Thiago Silva leaves, Reece James is fully fit, ready to go. The captaincy then becomes available to him because he's available more. And that's the only thing with Reece James, is the availability of him, which may hinders the decision makings, you know, of maybe him himself. But everything else other than that, Reece James, I'll be fine with it. Question mark I have with Thiago Silva. How many games will he be playing next season to be a captain? Because if Colwell's going to be there, Fofana's going to be there, you're going to have Badiashile there. Obviously, there'll be a huge rotation. But will Thiago Silva be getting as many games as we think? You know, that's the only thing I would say. But, you know, again, how can you not have Thiago Silva in your team? I guess is probably one of the right answers to that as well. Vic says Dybala. We're going to get to that in a second. Todd wanted time to sign, so now see the drama. Wasted time. There's no. I don't really get that, Simon. What do you mean wasted time? I don't think time has been wasted, bro. Caicedo and Tchouameni is a no for Neo. So we'll see what happens at a later stage. 160 people. Big love to every single one of you guys. Guys, make sure we're running up these likes as well. Make sure we're running up these likes as much as we can. Share it out on your socials as well. We are flying through some of the news. We're going to get the panel in soon as well to go through everything with us. News in and around more players on the cutting edge is Conor Gallagher, Trevor Chalobah, and Callum Hudson-Odoi. Now, the answer to that is that they're all expected to leave. I think you already know what I feel about Conor Gallagher. He has to go. Like, I just don't think he is good enough to be at Chelsea, from what I've seen. But at the same time, you can say that about most players. But I just don't see the qualities that he brings further up the pitch for Chelsea. I don't think he's very good in the possession-based team. I think he is probably better off being in a team that plays on the counter, that probably doesn't have as much of the ball in terms of, you know, trying to break teams down, which is what Chelsea do pretty much mostly every week. Always possession-based, they'll dominate most games going into each. You know, get 40, 50 million for him, sell him on, great. I would do it. Callum Hudson-Odoi, I would just let him go. You know, he was another one that had big praise, thought he was going to get somewhere, had that massive injury as well. And then for me, he never really managed to find himself, you know, find that form in himself again going into things. And I always felt with him that he was always playing with on the breaks. You know how good he is at dribbling, taking people on, but he would never do it. He would stop, go backwards, sideways. So, you know, he was I just think he's not the player that I saw in the reserves. I used to watch bits of Conor Gallagher where I was like, wow, he'd get the ball from the halfway line, he'd take on 3-4 players, put them on the floor, 1-2s, bang, goal. And like, I know it's reserves and whatever, but he never really found that form again, So if we've got to let Callum go, it makes sense to me. I always thought he would go anyway. That's not a shock. And then there's Trevor Chalobah, who I'm a little bit against, to be honest, because he's the one player that I just feel that has, for as long as he's been at Chelsea a very short space of time, I think he's done very well. And he's had moments, don't get me wrong. And I think for us to not at least allow him to have them moments on the basis that he was just thrown in his team under Thomas Tuchel, none of us even knew, and had a great first part to the season, and then he sort of dipped off, and then he found it again. And then going into last season, I thought when he got called back into the team, I thought he was very good again. I think he's very underlooked. I think that he is very good to have in the squad because God knows what you're going to do with injuries and whatever. I think you could utilise him in and around the back of the defence, whether it's on the left, the right. You're going to play the back four. You might even be able to squeeze him on the right back, whatever. Like, I just feel with Chalobah, he has the abilities to be a bit versatile as well. And I don't know. I'm not too. And I know we've got Chilwell and Cucurella and Gusto and James, and that is great strength. We have got some serious strength in them positions now, and I get that. But in terms of having a player like him available, I think we should really think about it, to be honest. Unless he wants to go himself, in my opinion. Unless he wants to go himself. Guys, nearly 200 of you here. Big up to every single one of you guys. Make sure we're smashing them likes, though, guys. Get the likes up. Come on, let's drive them likes up as quickly as we can. Who can get to 100 likes the first? That's the big question. Who can make it to 100 likes the first? Under Sarri, he was good. The injury robbed. Yeah, but it's just the same thing as Ruben Loftus-Cheek couch. Same issues. You reckon Chalobah might go out on loan? Maybe that's a better option rather than just selling him. I don't know. I've just always thought Trevor. Is always, for me, one that I think we should just keep. But Mattson might be given a chance next season. I heard Potts really likes him so far. Really? KSA, how are you, bro? Nice to see you as well. So we'll keep an eye on in and around any more outgoings there as well. Get my drink because it's very hot today, guys. If you've never had this, by the way, get yourself a J2O with spritz with watermelon and apple. That is some serious drink, man. It's very refreshing. Watermelon and apple, banging. I think we have to keep Trev. A few of our centre-backs are injury-prone, and it's great backup. I agree, DOB. I agree. That's one of my real big question marks in getting rid of Trevor Chalobah. I just think that we can utilise him in a better... we could... All right, he might not play as much, but we haven't got as many games next season. But you're right. Farner, don't trust him with his injuries. Silva's not going to be playing every game. Badiashile is still injured and coming back. Cole will... All right, fine. He'll be available. But, that's it. That is literally it. I think it's fair to keep Gallagher for one more season, guys. I wouldn't. I would have personally. I think we could make money on Gallagher still now and get him moved on. And then maybe look in that area in bringing in someone else. And there's talks about a 10 and we're going to go into it a bit more with like a Dybala, etc. There's another one that they were talking about as well. I can't remember his name, but we'll get to him in a bit. I think Chalobah can come back in the mix next summer, going on loans. Maybe a loan deal is a good move for Chalobah. Maybe that is the right way forward with that. But we'll see what happens. Now we're going to go on to Christian Pulisic, guys, because again, it looks like Chelsea are going to be getting rid of their offensive players. This was the most breaking recent news from Fabrizio Romano, who goes to say that AC Milan and Chelsea in direct contact now to close Christian Pulisic deal on a permanent move. The deal closer to then and never and imminent, now checking on the fine details. I don't think it's a surprise with Christian Pulisic. To be honest, he's another one on the chopping board that had to go. I think we can all agree on that. Now, where have we ever seen the best of Christian Pulisic? I think lockdown Christian Pulisic was probably the best of him and was actually quite good. And it was a shame that he couldn't continue and find that form because he was effective over that period massively for us. But other than that, he's just failed to really hit the heights. And some people may say, well, it's because he hasn't been given many opportunities. Others would just say he's just inconsistent. Others would just say he finds himself more on the NHS bench and, whatever else. We brought him in on the back of Christian, on the back of Eden Hazard, if you remember. And there was a lot of hype around Christian Pulisic being like this sort of, not Eden Hazard, but like a different type in that. And I just don't think he's never found it. For whatever reasons, I don't think he's ever found it. I think he's got talent. I just don't think, like a lot of these players, I just don't think they'll find it at Chelsea. And that's a real shame, man. That is a real big shame, Would you take Colo? Because I rate him. Again, I've not watched enough of Colo Moani. Obviously, there's talks that Chelsea are interested or intrigued in the player, but not seen enough of him. Guys, over 200 of yous here now. Big love to every single one of yous. Keep smashing the likes. How quickly can we get to 100 likes, guys? That's the question. How quickly can we do it? I only go for one and a bit of a season, is what Hassan says. His injury situation hasn't improved him and also been complaining. Much makes sense for him to go, is what Dill says as well. Ziyech should leave ASAP as well. I mean, I just can't, but this guy's just inevitable. He just seems like to be like a boomerang. You throw him, just comes back at you. He needs to go as well. So yeah, there's that on Christian Pulisic. Then to back that, we also got this on Christian Pulisic as well. What's he got? To basically say that he will sign a 4-year contract with AC Milan via Mate Moretto as well. So on a 4-year deal, he potentially looks like he'll be leaving Chelsea. We've been told in the regions of around 19 million is what we're looking at. I thought we should have at least gone and tried to get at least 20 to 25 mil minimum. I'd have gone more up to like the 25s. But we seem to do quite a bit of business with AC Milan, so, and there's obviously a good communication there between us as well. So, 19 million to get Christian Pulisic off the books just seems a little bit low for me personally. But at the same time, we move on from it. Pulisic wanted out last season, good player, but no consistency and too weak. I agree. We must have a solid relationship with AC Milan. They keep getting rid of Deadwood. Yeah, it's true. That's what I just said as well. They don't give us Margin, though. I know that's true. They won't. But then at the same time, we're going for like one of their best players. You know what I mean? So it makes a lot of sense as to why they might be a little bit deflective or defensive against that. I think it's more important just to get rid of players out the door. 5 million in comparison to wages. That's true. Even though we're selling them for so less and we're not making much money of them, what we're actually doing is actually aided and helping the wage structure. And that's the big thing really in all this, is that we're able to sell these players, all right, not for a lot, but their wages in theory then get scrapped off, and that allows us to have a lot more freedom on bringing players across, but also getting them on the right sort of wage structure. Yeah, I saw that as well. I mean, I haven't really thought to look into that too much. There you go. That's Christian Pulisic. Guys, we are now moving into the news in and around Dybala, which is quite interesting because, see, I always felt that Chelsea were going to look at bringing in someone. And according to Fabrizio Romano, Pochettino is a huge fan of Paulo Dybala, but Chelsea focus is currently on Moises Caicedo, as we already understand, willing to be the case in all of this. It's an interesting one with Dybala. We've been told that it's going to be around 10 million. I think it was in around between 10 and 15 million to bring him across. How do I feel about it? I always sit on the bench with this when it comes to Dybala. Do I think that he's got a good ability? Yeah, there's ability there. Is he a good 10 to have in the Premier League? I question. But then I always think of Juan Mata and how good he was in their very small sort of frame as Dybala. Is he low risk? Yes, because of how much he actually costs. So in theory, even if he does play shit, we only paid 10 odd million for him anyway, so you don't lose that there. Does he bring depth? Yeah. What else does he bring? He brings experience in the team. Experience that we don't have. He's pushing, 29, pushed on to the age of 30 as well in himself. I think from the negative points of it, I'm not too sure if the profile of players the right one for us. I'm worried about his injuries because his injury record is shocking, and we can have a look at Dybala's injury record in a second. It's pretty bad as well. But you know, Pochettino's intrigued in him. It seems like he's intrigued with a lot of the Argentinian players, and I think we'll just be linked to a lot of them, to be honest. And a lot of them we probably just won't get. But this one seems like it could be a possibility. I'm not going to say it can happen because I still don't think it will, but it's obviously a possibility. And when you look at his injury record since 2020, and we'll jump into that now, his injury record's not the most prettiest, is what I'd probably say. But at the same time, it's not massive injuries when you look at him. He had an ankle problem on May the 19th, 2023. That put him out for 10 days, and he only missed 2 games. Then he was out for 11 days where he missed 3. Then he was out for 6 days and missed 2 games, and then missed another 2 games in February. So the injury kind of, with him, the injuries under Roma kind of happened in a certain period, because from February to May, that's where he got most of his injuries, on back to back to back. Then you look at October, he had a hamstring injury for 9 days, but then his hamstring injury didn't then reoccur because his next injury was a stress response of a bone, an adductor problem, and then a dislocation of an ankle, and then he had an ankle problem. So it was a completely separate injury to the one that he had in October last year. And then before that, you look at it, muscular problems, muscle fatigue, problems with hip flexor, thigh problem. He's just got all-round muscular problems all the time, and that worries me, because you're going to come into the Premier League physically, you're going to get slapped, you're going to get hit hard. We've seen a lot of players come into Chelsea and struggle to hit the levels that they need to because of the physicality of the league. He hasn't been out for too long, other than when he got the ligament injury and he missed 80 days under Juventus, and that was 18 games that he missed. But barring that, they're all like 2 games, 3 games, 2 games. That can be annoying. At the same time, if you brought him in, he wouldn't be playing too much anyway. I don't think he'd start. I don't really think he would start. I think he'd just be a bench player anyway. He'd just bring experience, really. But in terms of the profile, I'm just not sure. I'll be honest with you. I've never been his biggest fan anyway, to be honest, even when he was very good, in his early days at Juventus and whatever else. I thought he's a decent player. I never thought he was, oh my God, amazing. But I don't know. There's pros and cons of both when it comes to Dybala. Big up, Louis. How you doing, bro? Nice to see you. Yeah, that's true. That's at 2:30 today. Madueke also injury prone. We really need another winger, and I want Cherki. So just it. Cherki's another one that seems to be coming up quite a lot in regards to Chelsea. When it comes to Chelsea, I'm not too sure how serious the news around Cherki is. We can have a quick look to see what there is on him. There is a little comment. No, that's not that. Chelsea fans are going crazy. They're pushing an agenda for Cherki. I mean, I'll be honest with you, there's not much news in and around Cherki at the moment, and him coming to Chelsea anyway, so it's probably not worth taking. There's more to do with stats. Some people saying he gives him Hazard vibes in how he plays. Others are saying that he would flop in the Premier League. I don't know much about Cherki. I don't. Other than that, he's obviously a decent talent. But, there is a chance that we're going to need ammunition in that area. We're going to need to bring someone in to bring the ammunition in that area at some point anyway. So that'll be intriguing to see whether we get it done. Athletic Ridge are ready to sell Felix. PSG are ready to make an official offer, apparently. Well, Chelsea probably definitely won't, because they've already turned off the idea of even having him coming to us. So I don't see that being us anyway. So let's move on to noises around Levi Colwill, because a lot of people are saying, well, has this got anything to do with the news in and around Caicedo? Well, Dean Jones seems to think that the noises that he's hearing from people that cover Chelsea closely are that Levi Colwill could generally come into the thinking for a starting role. Listen, part of the reason why, yeah, I agree, Couch. I agree. I think I'm on the same page as you with that. Moving on to Colwill. Big up, Bobby. Nice to see you, bro. Nice to see you guys. Still over 220 of you in, nearly 250. Big love to all of you guys that are tuned in at the moment, as always. The noises that I'm hearing from closely are that Levi Colwill could generally come into the things for a starting role. Well, he's doing very well in the Euros with him and Madueke. He is a massive talent. We know that. He's still very young. He has got a bit of experience, but I still think he still lacks that. I think he needs to be a part of Chelsea next season. Will he start ahead of Badiashile and others that people seem to think may be the case, or say that he's a better player than Badiashile? That will be down to Poch over pre-seasons, and I'll let my manager take control of and deal with that. I think for Levi, I think he just needs to understand that, Chelsea want to keep him, and he's one of the players from the academy that we want to try and bring through eventually, and that makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, I think he needs to be aware that, if you're going to be in the Chelsea squad, you're going to need to fight for your role, and that should always be the case. And we've been told he's put a stall on his contract whilst he's at the Euro, so that when he gets back to Chelsea, he can talk to Poch and understand his roles. And I think Poch will probably come out with a very clear mark. You're talented. We know this. We want to keep you. Chelsea want to keep you. But at the same time, you need to show it. And he should have the hunger as a player to want to stay at this club. You gain experience from the other defenders that are around him that are more experienced than him, like the Thiago Silvas, for example, and amalgamate himself into a role where when he gets his chance, he becomes more consistent and then finds himself starting games. It should never be a case of, I'm coming in and I'm starting. It should always be a case of that I'm coming in and I'm coming to fight for my position. I'm coming in to, earn my place. And that's what we need to see. That's what we need to see with him. So I think with Levi Colwill, yes, bring him in. Exactly. He needs 100% that. Exactly. And I feel like some of these players, especially in today's game, some of these players, especially the young ones, they don't seem to want to accept contracts because they want confirmation that they're going to be heavily involved in plans and playing, over half or whatever of the games and, be on the pitch, which I get. They want to play football. I get it. But if you're coming to a top club, you need to appreciate the qualities that are already in the team and the competition that is going to be there. And then it's down to you to show it. So just go and show it. Go and do your thing. But yeah, we should keep Levi Colwill. Yeah, Brighton are interested in him as well. What's going on here? Yeah, Brighton are interested in him as well. We know that. But then there's comments around like, he's 10 times better than Badiashile, he's this, that, and the other. And obviously there's some little, and I'm bringing this up because it's intriguing to obviously see these things. Obviously people disrespecting Benoit because they think Levi Colwill is a million times better of a player. But when you look at Badiashile and Colwill's stats per last season, yeah, Badiashile's ahead. Colwill's very close to him. They're equally at looking at them at their ages as well. 22, 20, still very young. Height, all right, Badiashile has. Games played, Badiashile's played a lot less of than Levi. Levi's played 17, so Levi's had more minutes. The performance index shows that Badiashile's overall performances have been better than Colwill. But obviously, Colwill's at Brighton, who are not a bad team, finished above us, don't get me wrong. But, his passing completion was slightly better. But then again, it was very match on match. His pass accuracy was pretty much match on match with Levi Colwill. His tackles made are better than Levi Colwill, which means once he goes into a tackle and he makes it, he usually tends to succeed in winning it. Colwill's is a bit under half. I'm going to say it's not massively great. His fouls conceded, he's got a habit of giving silly fouls away. Colwill seems to be someone that makes right decisions in tackles. The aerial duel is exactly the same, even though Badiashile's a lot taller than him. Colwill's very good in the air. The ground duel succession, again, 53.85 to 52.78 of Levi Colwill is very close. The clearances levels, Badiashile tops it, 3.3 to his 2.0. But again, Colwill's, not bad. And his interceptions, again, are not on the same levels as Badiashile. But again, near enough close. My point in all of this is that these type of stats, along with the eye test of watching these players, goes to show me that they're sort of, in terms of their journey, and their abilities, they're sort of near enough the same. All they need now is competition, experience, and obviously minutes involved in that in doing so. So let them battle it out. They're both very young. They're both, in theory, when given chances, taking them. Stats-wise, they seem to be very close to each other. Good. Both left-footed players. Both young, probably. One's from France, one's from England. Both looking to have bright futures. Both at Chelsea. Both could potentially make it into the team, which I think makes it harder because they're both left-footed. But, you could maybe once see Levi and Benoit Badiashile as a pair in the future. Could. If Fofana's injury record continues and he's not as fit as he needs to be throughout it. So I don't think it should be like get rid of Benoit because Levi Colwill's here now and he's amazing. And I think a lot of Chelsea fans do this. Oh, we need to have him. He needs to start all the time. He needs to start all the time. He's this, he's that. Yeah, he is. He's very good. But in terms of where they are as players at the moment, let them just have it out. Let them just, compete with each other, push each other, accelerate each other. And then we'll see who continues to do that more, quicker. And that's what I want. That's what I want. It'd be nice to see them both go like that. Both become top players. And then we've got these top, young defenders in our team. And that's the big thing. But it's a good headache, though, Ashraf. That's what I'm saying. It's a good headache. It should be a good headache to have. So let them compete. Let them compete and let them fight for the position. It's clear currently, 100%. But it go to say, Colwill comes into Chelsea, plays with better players, looks a lot better. And in theory, that can happen. So we'll see. Doesn't really matter. All my point is the stats show that they're both as close to each other as they are. Not one's 10 times better than the other, like some people keep saying. Oh, he's so much better than him. No. The eye test and the stats say that they're both quite close to each other. And that's a good thing. They're both in a position. They're both very young. They both deserve to push each other. They both still have got progression in their own, in their own footballing experience to gain. So let them do it. Let them do it at Chelsea. It's a good problem. Moises Caicedo, guys, smash the like buttons. I know we haven't got enough likes. I just know we haven't got enough likes. I don't really want to have to go and have a look at it now because we're about to go on to Moises Caicedo and then I'm getting the panel in and then we're going to start talking to the panel about the overall news. Run up the likes, guys. I'm going to go and have a look now. I'm going to go and have a look. And at the moment, there's nearly 200 people on Chelsea Fan TV. There's, 90 people on GNA TV. We should be over 100 likes. So let's go. Right, GNA TV, that is just, come on, guys. We're not even at 50. You're not even at 50, guys. There's nearly 100 people there, and we've not even gone over 50. If you haven't hit the fun button, guys, please do it now. Please do it now. I'm watching it. I'm watching the fun. I'm going to come over to Chelsea Fan TV next. I'm watching it, guys. I want to see that go high. I want to see it move. It's not moving. Hit it. Hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it. Come on, guys. You're all sitting here watching me, going through the news, talking to each other. But the likes are low. The likes are too low, man. Anyway, going on to Chelsea Fan TV. You guys have got 90 likes over there. There's nearly over 200 people there. 90 likes. Guys, if you've not hit the likes at Chelsea Fan TV, go and hit the likes now. That should be over 100 in seconds. I'm watching it. I'm watching that fun. Let's see it go. Let's see it rise. Come on, guys. Come on. Come on. Come on. Over 100 on Chelsea Fan TV. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get it up. Let's get it up. Let's get it up. And the same, come on GNA TV, over 100 views here, not enough likes. Keep hitting the likes. Keep hitting the likes. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Right. Over 300 people in the building. Big love to every single one of you guys that are here. We're going to go on to Moises Caicedo now as well. So, guys, keep continuously heating them likes. Come on, keep getting them up. Keep getting the likes up while I'm talking. I really appreciate it, guys. I don't want to have to keep doing that, but I have to if we've not got enough likes. So if you could just do it without me actually having to say anything, it'd be great, guys. Kendry Paez is a crack, is what Moises Caicedo says. The truth is, there are times where I watch independent games. It's good to see these talents in Ecuador because we know we have very good youth. I'm very happy for him and everything. Only what I can tell of him is that he keeps on the right track, doing things really well. He's going to go far. So there's these comments, Caicedo, on Kendry Paez as well, which is another Ecuadorian, another young prospect as well, who is at Chelsea, 16 years old. Got a lot to look up to, which is interesting because he speaks about him on it. There was a interview, which I'll show you very quickly, on Caicedo, where the questions are saying Caicedo, when he was asked about Chelsea trying to get his shirt, sign him, and then it goes on to say, what did he answer? He smiled. So it wasn't a very serious, it was a smile. I'll show you guys it very quickly now.
Kendry Paez, que ya es un hecho que va al Chelsea, equipo que también suena mucho para que tú vistas su camiseta.
You saw the smile. You saw the smile. We saw the little cheeky smile when he mentioned Chelsea to her. You know, so interesting stuff there as well. I'm hoping we get an answer to this very, very soon, to be honest. And then he goes on to say this about the whole situation. He goes on to say, I am waiting, and he talked about his future. I'm waiting, whatever God decides, because I know he knows what's best for me. So, again, keeping it very close to himself, not saying much to it. I am waiting, whatever God knows and knows is best for me next. He's keeping it close to himself. There's not much more said in regards to that on him. But then there is also more news from him in terms of the fees and what we're trying to do, how we're trying to get him. And this goes on with a Bobby Vincent tweet or comment to say that Brighton are demanding around 80 million for Moises Caicedo, but Chelsea would rather pay in installments instead of just one-off fees. So what they mean by that is very simple. We're probably trying to offload the 80 odd plus million over maybe a 5-6 year deal. They want it on a big one-off fee, which could be split in, say, 2 years or 3 years, where the first payment is the majority of it, so that they could probably then take that money, go into the market and recoup it. So I get what Brighton are trying to do. They're trying to get maybe 40-50 million of it now, the other 20-30 million of it next season. Chelsea are all going, well, hang on here. You know, you're in favour of our installment plans. We do a lot of work with you. You know, we are willing to match what you want, but to do that, we would like to pay it over 4 or 5 years. Now, we got told 80 million. We got told 85 million. We are now being told that it's this, which is where we go on to next on it. We're now being told that Brighton want 100 million for Moises Caicedo. Worth it? Chelsea are currently refusing to meet Brighton's asking price of 100 million for the midfielder. Now, why has it got to this point? Simple. Something I said on this show, funny enough, I think it was maybe 2 shows back. I said the Declan Rice move to Arsenal will have a big hand on what Brighton say in regards to Caicedo. We knew he was 80 to 85 million. We knew that Chelsea were willing to meet the 80, 85 million required for Caicedo in the structure. I would say they've kind of like pulled a fast, but they've kind of put us in a catch-22. And the catch-22 is very simple. They know that we are desperate to sign a player in that position. They also know that in terms of availability of players in that position at maybe the levels of what Caicedo is, along with the Premier League proven tag that he does have, they know that we're in a position where Chelsea could maybe pay over the odds to get it done. They saw it with Enzo Fernandez. They've seen Arsenal do it with Declan Rice. They favour Caicedo to be, in their opinion, as of the level of him, even though there may be different profiles. They've seen it, and they've now obviously given it a go. The difference from the Chelsea aspect of it all is now we have negotiators, and why we are refusing to meet that, and maybe we wouldn't have done last year, is because we have people that know how to negotiate. We have people that know how to sit down and maybe not just fully get what we want, but maybe find a way to compromise and get to where we need with this. I think we're at the going end of this Caicedo saga. I thought that we was going to get an announcement this week from Fabrizio Romano of the Here We Go until this came up. This came up, and it makes sense that it came up on the delay. But we are definitely, what I would say, at the end of all of this. And why Chelsea have to be very clever with this is Caicedo wants to leave. Made it very clear in January when he sent that statement across the whole of the world that he was leaving Brighton and whatever. Brighton agreed to let Caicedo go this summer, so they have to let him go. Chelsea have really originally met the 85 million they wanted, but now Brighton have kind of tried to throw another 15 mil on top on the basis of what's happened with Declan Rice. What we have to do, in my opinion, is just be very stubborn in agreeing what they originally agreed on, and then maybe lean on Caicedo, the agent, and whatever, to try and get this moved quicker. And that's where we might then find an agreement a lot less than the 100 mil. I would be very shocked that if we went out of our way to spend 100 mil on Caicedo, that means we'd have spent over 200 mil on two midfielders in Enzo and Caicedo. Don't get me wrong, top players. We've seen it with Enzo already. People forgot how much he costs now. It's not, the number's not really a thing anymore because of the quality of the player, because it was a need. And this is the issue we find ourselves in at the moment. If we don't get Caicedo, where does it leave us for the next steps? And I know there's a Lavia, for example, available, and he's another one that Chelsea could maybe turn their attentions to. There's talks about Tchouameni at Real Madrid. He's not Premier League proven. Yeah, he's a good player. I think the idea would be to try and get him and one more, but it has to be him. And I think when you look at the summer window, the main top target for us, and has been for a while, is getting him. And we have to get it done by Tuesday, Wednesday next week. If we don't get at least a full agreement, Chelsea, whatever, maybe not Here We Go, Caicedo, Chelsea is on the final steps and whatever, I'd be quite surprised, because we're going into pre-season, we're going across to the US. One of the things that we were told by the journos is that Chelsea want to get Caicedo deal done before we fly to the US. Yes, there's always delays, but there is a relationship already there between Chelsea and Brighton. And the fact that he needs to go because he wants to, the fact that Brighton have to sell him, the fact that Chelsea are willing to meet what Brighton initially said, I think favours us. I just don't see us doing that. And this is where we need to make sure that they compromise with. And I think they probably will have to be honest with you. They've tried it. They may have got away with it last year. They may have got away with it last year from the old Chelsea. But now we've got negotiators. I don't think it's going to be the case. And I do think it's going to be around 85 million. I do think it's going to be around that. I've said that for a very long time. I just don't expect us to be going out of our way to spend much more than that. But again, would it shock you? Would it shock you that we go and do that? Probably not, because it's Chelsea, and we are quite desperate for that. The difference here is I would want both, because they're both different profiles. And I think Caicedo's a different profile to Paulinho. I think Paulinho is defensively more astute in front of a back four. Not to say that Caicedo can't, because he can. But then Caicedo is very versatile and able to to do other things, box to box, moving forward. The ball brings energy. It gives you that sort of, like I said to you before, Michael Essien style of play. Some people feel that it's too much money for him. I think when you look at the current market and the inflation, it ain't. The fact that you're getting yourself a Premier League proven player that's played there for 2 seasons now, and when you look at his stats last season, is very polished. Yes. The question marks will be there with Caicedo because, yes, he's played very well at Brighton, but from going to Brighton and jumping into a team like Chelsea where you'll eventually be playing top-level football, Champions League and whatever, maybe not this season, but moving forward, you know, and then the challenges of being in the Champions League, which he hasn't had at Brighton, the challenges of potentially pushing for titles at later stages. These are all things that he needs to have grasp of if he comes to Chelsea. But then also, we have to see him improve as a player. And from what I've seen of what he's done at Brighton now and being able to come in and do it, I think he's in a position in terms of an experience element of being able to do that at Chelsea. It's just now, can he kick on and become even better and better and better? Guys, nearly 400 of you here. Big up to every single one of you guys. Slap the likes, guys. Come on, let's keep going on hitting them like buttons. And Enzo Caicedo pivot is amazing, in my opinion. It really is, because it releases Enzo of having to worry too much of the defensive duties. And we want to see Enzo further up the pitch. And I think Caicedo will relieve that of him. And Caicedo will say, look, this is my area now. This is my role. This is what I've been paid a lot of money to do and come across and do. You need to now go and do what you do best, because you've been paid a lot of money to come here as well. Go and create, go and become good. And they'll have a good relationship between them. Physically, they'll be good together and strong together. But then you add another one to it. And that's what we want. We want to add someone else in it. And maybe that next one is more of a defensive-minded individual. A Paulinho, Lavia, Kone. You know, someone that can give you that specialist role. But at all costs, we have to get this done. The issue with it, we're in a catch-22, because if this is really true, which again might not be, this is just say, we may be forced into having to pay maybe a little bit more than we want to get it done. But I just think we need to hold it. But then holding it then means we're delaying other things, and we need to get on with other things. And other things meaning that we need defensive players to look at. Get on with the offensive players. Are we going to get a striker? We're being told we need to get another winger /10, because Havertz, Mount, Gallagher could potentially be going as well. So just get on with it. Do you know what I mean? Just get on with it. Get this done and let's move on. And obviously it goes on from here to say that Chelsea are trying to find a solution. This is Fabrizio Romano's comments. We'll try and find a solution altogether for Moises Caicedo. And he's saying it now will be next week. Nothing ever gets done over the weekend, guys. I'll tell you that now. It's always Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I would expect things to heat up now on the Moises Caicedo deal going into next week. And I said it already. I think we're at the end. We're at the end of this whole Caicedo situation, in my opinion. Just go and get it done and don't fuck it up. That would be my that'll be my thing. Right, I've sent the link into the panel. There's nearly 400 of you guys here. Big up to every single one of you. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. I don't compare to see that. Yeah, he's not a Kante. You won't replace Kante like you couldn't replace Hazard. We need Caicedo plus another Cam at least. I agree, Soham. But we'll need to walk away from it. We need to walk away. Why do we need to walk away from this deal? So if we're going to walk away from this deal, who else are you bringing in? Who else are you bringing in then? Who's your next go-to person? Well, he should be. I think Chelsea are making it very hard for Brian. I think Brian are realising that it's not going to happen because Chelsea are going to want to keep him. You won't get him. He will go bigger to a team, either Arsenal. He'll go to a bigger team. What are you talking about, mate? What are you going on about? What are you going on about, mate? I don't know about desperate, Jem. These owners are like slow burners. They're not desperate. No, we are desperate in terms of the area that we need to, to get this player in. And we know that this position specifically is required to have someone of the abilities of Caicedo. And what I'm saying, the desperate comes on the basis that we don't want it to be a case that we walk away from this deal, not us, but Brighton or whatever, because we need to get it done. There's the desperate element to it. It needs to happen. Yeah, they can be slow burners. But these kind of deals always are. Negotiating always is. And why we got 65 million for Kai Havertz is because we didn't rush into things. is because we held our ground when they offered us 50 mil. They're just doing the same thing. The difference to what they're doing is that they've given us the 85 mil, which we were willing to meet. And I think we're probably going to try and structure and get done, whether it's a bigger payment up front, which gets it done at that figure, which I think could be the case. But now they're also supposedly saying, well, actually, we want another 50 mil on top, actually, because Declan Rice was sold for 100 mil. You know, I don't know. I don't know with it all. I just think we need to get on with it. You know, that's all I mean. And when I mean by desperacy, I meant on the basis that we just need to get this profile player in this club. It needs to happen because Ugarte's gone PSG, Rice has gone to Arsenal. He's the next sort of bit other than Couch's favourite, Lavia, who's available. You know, and then after all of that, maybe a Paulinho and then some of the younger players. It leaves us in a position where I think we need to get two anyway, and he has to be for certain one of them. For his abilities, for his experience in the Premier League, for how we were going to play with the pivot, him being next to Enzo, I think will be very key. I mean, Couch, this whole... firstly, hello, mate. How you doing? Nice to see you as always.
Yo, what are you saying, King? You good?
All good, bro. All good. We're still sitting here waiting for Caicedo news. Obviously, the better side of it of here we go and it's done and this, that and the other. It seems to be a case of that we are being told 80 to 85 million, but the delay on the 85 million is that they want more of a bigger one-off upfront fee, and we're not. You know, we're trying to structure it over more installments, and now we're being told it's 100 mil that they want because of assuming, like we said on the chat, Declan Rice. They've seen the movement for that, and they value him as of a player maybe as close to Declan Rice in terms of ability and whatever. Where do you think we stand on this whole situation? Is this one that you feel we're at the end game with, and do you feel that you still feel very confident that we'll get it done on the correct, whatever that maybe price will be?
First of all, big up to the chat. Much love. Don, what's up? This is kind of what I said last week when we were having this conversation. I don't think that these negotiations happen overnight. Of course, they're going to be pushing for 100 mil, seeing what Declan Rice went for. I would do the same, you know, similar profile player, you know, a guy that, you know, obviously is in, you know, the ascendancy in his career. He's still not reached his peak. You're seeing already good performances at his age. So I can see why they would at least want to entertain trying to get 100 mil for him. But bottom line is, and it's what you said, Jem, this is going to come down to Caicedo and his agent putting pressure on Brighton to honor their agreement. To say, listen, you can stay for the rest of the season. We'll let you go in the summer. This whole extortion thing where they're going from 85 million to 100 million to whatever after that is that's just negotiations. I don't think that it's going to come down to that. I don't think that Chelsea is going to get anywhere near 100 million paying for this guy. It's just going to take some time. And to be honest with you, I always thought it would. I didn't think that this was going to be an overnight thing. The only thing that I thought would kind of push it in the direction of having it done sooner rather than later was the fact that we've already been negotiating with these guys for Caicedo, you know, for other players that we've had and whatnot. So I figured that the relationship's already there, and it's just a matter of like crossing T's and dotting I's. But clearly, this is a big money negotiation, and big money negotiations don't happen overnight. So it's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, Don, what you saying, bro? Nice to see you as always. I mean,
yes, bro.
This Caicedo thing seems to still be continuing. We spoke about it a little bit in the group chat yesterday. What's your thoughts on this whole, well, it was 85, now could potentially be 100? Like, do you think Chelsea will go above the odds to get Caicedo and spend that kind of money, or do you think we'll hold still on this and whatever?
Yeah, no, I think we'll hold still. I think like Couch has said, a lot of what he said, I echo the same thoughts. Like, if you think about it, it's a negotiation tactic. Do you know what I mean? I think we've been going back and forth with Brighton. I honestly think we're quite close. I was on the terrace yesterday. I was saying the same thing. I think we're quite close to getting it done, because what came out yesterday was that ideally we want to get it done before we actually fly out to America for pre-season. So, you know, the fact that we're taking a different approach in terms of not actually putting it out there, that we're going back and forth with bids, I do think that we're hopefully getting close to some sort of an agreement. But I don't see us paying up to 100 million. I think what we'll do is what we've done with like Mudryk and Enzo, make it quite favourable in terms of the upfront payments. So I think it's all down to the structure, really. I don't think it's going to be 100 million. I think you're probably looking at 85, maybe even 90 max if they're trying to drag their heels a little bit. But yeah, I think it's just a matter of time now. It's been ongoing, we've obviously done all the groundwork with Caicedo. It's not like we just wanted him yesterday. We wanted this guy in January, then we moved on to Enzo when that bid got rejected. But we came back in for him. So this is long-standing interest. He wants to move. Brighton have kind of promised him that he can move on as well. They know he's going to move on. I know a lot of rivals have said, "Oh, Brighton don't have to sell and whatnot," but De Zerbi came out, pretty much said him and McAllister are going to leave. Do you know what I mean? This is not Daniel Levy. I know Brighton aren't easy to deal with, but again, we've got a good relationship on both sides. We took Potter from them. They've taken Gilmore. They've taken Lamptey. Do you know what I mean? They took Colwell on loan. So they're going to want a lot more from us going forward. So I think it's just negotiating, really. They're trying to get as much as they can. But honestly, I think we're not gonna pay 100 million. I think it'll probably be 90 million max, I would say. But I'm probably looking at 85 is what I'd say. Probably 85 is a benchmark I'd probably look at.
Do you think we're dealing with other aspects of what we need to do in behind all of this? Or do you think we're taking this very slow, like some of the people saying in the chat, and just trying to get this done and then maybe moving on to what we've been told more?
Do you know what it is? Like, I want everyone to sort of get their head around the fact that silence doesn't mean that you're working on things slowly. Do you know what I mean? One of the first things that Poch said at the beginning, well, what was reported was that he wants things to be calm. And if you remember last summer, Jem, there was leaks after leaks after leaks, bro. And we were complaining then. Like, everyone knows our targets, everyone knows what we're doing, everyone knows our negotiation tactics. So you just have to trust that the club are doing things behind the scenes because, like I said, it's long-standing interest, and we know that things are happening. Even Fabrizio doesn't know when we're looking to bid. Do you know what I mean? That's a good sign for me. I think sometimes you just have to kind of do things in the background. It doesn't mean that you're not doing anything. I know as fans, you want to see things like physically and actually see Fabrizio tweet, "We'll put in this bid, or we're going to put in a bid tomorrow." But there are times where you just think, you know what, get things done in the back. As long as it gets done, that's the main thing. Silence doesn't always mean that nothing's being done. I think it's quite close. But from what it looks like we're taking a different approach. We're trying to get something done verbally and then actually bid for him, rather than going back and forth.
That's the way to go about it, really. But like the most important thing here, I think, for Chelsea going forward is trying to recalibrate the opinion that we'll just pay overs for anybody. Like, we really have to rein that in now, because there's been a lot of big spending going on with this club, and teams are starting to like raise prices just because they know how desperate we've shown that we can be in the past. Yeah. So that's important to me. Like, more than anything, I want to get Caicedo over the line, but more than anything, I want it to be on our terms or closer to our terms than theirs.
Exactly.
And if that means we're waiting until August, September before the deal gets done, so be it. So be it. It'd be great. It would be great to have them before, preseason, and great to have them before the season starts and whatnot. But most important thing is to get this deal over the line. It's not about when we get it over the line. It's about getting it over the line and not being taken to the cleaners in the process as well. So if it happens later in the summer, then so be it. I really do believe, though, that like it's going to happen sooner rather than later. And I also believe that if it starts to drag on, you're just going to start hearing noise from Caicedo and his camp about getting it over the line, because he wants to go to camp. He wants to be with the team. He wants to be, he's a gamer, man. He's the type of guy that wants to be around his squad, and he wants to train and learn the new methods and whatnot. So he's just got to put pressure on, and then if it starts to drag out, and I expect him to do that. So I'm calm about this whole situation.
Yeah, I definitely don't see it dragging on, because like we've already said, Caicedo wants to move. We want him. He's our main target. So I don't see this dragging on to August, and just ongoing like a long standing saga. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think it just needs to get done. It needs to get done. It's gonna. I think it's close, guys. I honestly think next week we're gonna have a big update on Caicedo. I was hoping ideally by today, but I think as of next week you're gonna hear something serious about this. I've just got a feeling that it's quite close. If you read between the lines, like I said, we want to get it done before we go on pre-season. I think they're pushing for it now.
I think you're right. Only because, and again, this is not me trying to blow my own horn. I get involved in like a lot of negotiations for my work and whatnot. And when you get into like the second and third like conversations, that's where you start thinking, okay, listen, if we don't have something by now, we're in trouble. So I'm anticipating that's where Chelsea is right now, considering they already had the discussions in January. If Maurizio or Fabrizio's anywhere close to being accurate, they already talked last week, and this next week coming up should be the decider. If it gets beyond
also-
3 negotiations,
Yeah.
it's getting
Well,
crazy.
that's what he also mentioned, that the strategy of how Chelsea approach deals is a lot different to what it was last year, and the fact that we don't just go in any willy-nilly now. It's right, what do you want? Where you're at? Okay, we'll match that. Tick 1, tick 2, structure, getting it right, installment plans. Obviously, we've been told that they want more of a bigger one-off payment, and being that it's probably going to be a 40 million up front, then maybe another 20, 30 million or whatever, you know, in the second and maybe the third season of him being at Chelsea. We're obviously trying to push more of the installment side of it over maybe a 5-year, over a 5-year, you know, breakdown or something. So, you know, the difference with it all now, I think, to where maybe what we was doing where it was just Todd Bowley and Egg Valley, is we kept going back and forwards on the fees, you know, on the major fee. I don't see this 100 million what's came out being a case of like what it was last year, where we're at a point of where do we need to be at with fee, and we're still there. I don't think we're there with that anymore with Brighton. I think we're well ahead of that, and that's why I agree. And I think we're at a point now where we're at the final, you know, the final ends of the games with them. And I think by Wednesday next week, if we haven't heard a full agreement, in my opinion, or this, that, and the other, maybe say Thursday at the latest, then I'd be quite shocked based on what I've heard, what I've read up to this point now. And that's what I said to you guys yesterday. I just think we're there, to be honest. I don't think there's more else to this. And the fact, and you've got to stress the fact that, and what Don said as well, and I read this, is that we want him on the US tour. He has to come to us with the US tour. So I think we're going to obviously try and get it done and maybe move on to next things. And obviously the next things being, which I want to talk to you guys, is obviously this news around Dybala, because it's a weird one, isn't it, really? I'm not his... I've never been his biggest fan. 10 million, is that low risk? Yes. Does he bring experience? Yes. Does he, you know, on the flip side of it, what are the negatives? Injury prone. All right, we've looked at that already. They're not lengthy injuries, but they're consistent. Couple games here, couple games there, couple games here, couple games there. Seems to have they build up in that way. He's not played in the Premier League. He's nearly 30 years up. Does he fit the whole what Chelsea are doing right now when the signing of young players? Probably not. Couch, what do you think? I mean,
Bro,
I don't know if it's
you already
happen.
know where I am with this, man. This ain't it for me.
Yeah.
This ain't it for me.
Yeah.
Like, if we're talking about competition for places, you know, an often injured, almost 30-year-old is supposed to be pushing for that number 10 position at Chelsea. You know, like, it's not his first time. Yes, big up Coachella. Big up,
Chelsea.
fam.
Nice to see you, bro. Nice to see you.
Yeah, I just think that, like, when you look at I know everyone's like, well, whatever, man. It's only 10 million or whatever. It's not about that. It's about giving this guy a place in the squad. Like, if you're gonna spend money on him, he might as well be challenging for the position. And in my opinion, a 30-year-old, near 30-year-old Dybala, who's injury prone, coming to the Prem for the first time, you know, even in Serie A, like, he had an okay season last year, but overall, Serie A performances have not been, you know, of this other world. And then to come to the Prem and expect him to do more than that is just it doesn't jive with me. You know, had this have been even like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, but at this point in time in his career, like, I'm not trying to see Chelsea take on older attackers when we have young players that still need to develop, that still need minutes, that still need somebody that still need to challenge for positions as well. So I'll take a hard pass on this. But, you know, that's me.
Don, what's your thoughts on Dybala? I've not asked you. Like, do you think he's a good option? No.
It's such a weird one. It's such a weird one because I actually think it's good. I've rated him, like, from his time at Juve, obviously, season after season. We spoke about this in the group chat yesterday, but this guy was meant to go Man United, like, God knows how many times. That never happened. But yeah, like you said, the age profile, and age profile isn't the worst. Like, he's not even 30 yet, but in comparison to the rest of the team and what we're trying to build now, the younger younger core. He's obviously a little bit older. But the main concern that I've got is his injury record, and he's quite injury prone. But I do think like if we brought him in, I don't think he'll be in the 11. I think he's more just for like squad depth, I reckon. I reckon he's someone that would be bringing in off the bench, maybe starting some games, to be honest. Like a squad player, really. I don't see him starting ahead of Nkunku. Because the price, like I said, but I'm not fully against it. I'm not fully against it because it is only 10 million. And if it doesn't work out, that's peanuts. Do you know what I mean? So
but here's the problem I have with
it.
It's not so much about the money. Obviously, the money's fine. It's just whether or not you're getting the profile, like a 30-year-old player to come in and challenge for the position. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see him giving Nkunku the challenge that we think he will.
Why don't you? He's good. He's a good player. He's a good player.
He's not pushing Nkunku. He's not pushing Nkunku. Let's be real. All right.
I would disagree with that because he's a good player. He knows where the back of the net is and he can definitely find the pass.
You think that he's pushing Nkunku?
I mean, I think he's good enough. I think he's good enough. I think he's a good. Like I said, Nkunku's going to be our starter. Nkunku's going to be our starter, and I don't think Dybala at this stage right now will be coming in to say I want to push Nkunku, right? I think he's someone that's going to know his.
If he comes here, he's got to come here wanting to play. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I don't want somebody coming here sitting on the bench just collecting a paycheck.
It all depends. It all depends on the role. That's what I'm saying. It all depends on the role that he gets, and to make sure that everyone's on the same page. Because some guys will come in and say and know that they're not a starter, but at the same time know that listen, when they're called upon, they need to do a job. Do you know what I mean? So Dybala's not rubbed. He's not rubbed. He's not a rubbed player.
No, he's not. He's not exactly. I just think that like if you're thinking about bringing somebody in to challenge for the position, he's not going to challenge Nkunku for me. For me, Nkunku is much better. And like he won't feel like his position's under threat. And this is the thing that I want at Chelsea. I want healthy competition at every position. I want people to be challenging for roles. I don't want Nkunku to get comfortable at the number 10.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Like I said, I literally with Dybala. Go on, Jem.
He's the thing with Dybala is the same thing I felt with João Felix. The same thing. I'll be honest with you. I don't think he is. What sort of wages is he on? Is his wages quite high?
About 100K.
Oh,
it's not
that's
bad.
Probably low now. So, Roma don't pay that. Don't pay that much.
But his wages wouldn't have come down from Juve. He's probably on like €130.
Let me check it now. I'm checking it now. He's on. He gets 7 million a year, €135, 135,000 euros.
Yeah, so about 100K.
Yeah,
100K pound.
Hey, give or go, but him and Nkunku are completely two different profile players. Let's just get this. Yeah, the comparison between the two, there isn't a comparison for me. One's a killer in front of goal. The other, you could look at in his prime, being someone that scored goals but created. What he reminds me, let's say what he reminds me of. What I look at Juan Mata and how well he did in the Premier League when he was at Chelsea, right? And he was someone that has the same frame as Dybala, played very well and succeeded in it. What worries me now with Dybala is a bit like what Cap says. Is he going to bring competition, maybe to then Nkunku for that position, if that's what he's been brought in for? I'm not too sure. What he does bring is experience. I think he does bring that, and I think we do lack that. Will he bring goals? Question mark, potentially. But I just don't think I just don't know if Dybala is the right profile of player to come and play in the Premier League because of his frame. I think he'll get bit. I think there's a chance he'll get bullied. I think you already know how physical this league is. I think there's a chance that he may suffer in with that. The issue with it all is that he's just very low risk. So even if you bring him in and he gets bullied and he doesn't adjust to the Premier League and whatever the negatives are or whatever, you can say, oh, he's shit, it didn't work, but he only cost us 10 mil. But I don't know if I want to have that type of player in our team anymore.
No,
anyway, we've done it with so many players in the past. Sal Niguez, we bought him in. Same bullshit. All right, he was on loan, wasn't he? I think anyway. But Aubameyang, for example, brought him back. And whatever he didn't. Like I don't want us to just.
I don't want any more reclamation progress. You're killing. You're basically
one thing I'll say though is that one thing I can say with Dybala, like I said, he can fight. He can definitely find the back of the net, and he can definitely create as well. That's one thing about him. And I didn't watch him in the league last season. I watched him in the Europa League. And yeah, if you look at his stats, he actually did quite well. He put up serious numbers last season. But I'm not going to speak about him as if I was watching him. But overall, you know, like I said, those stats back up him as a player. He's actually a good player, and he's got end product as well. So it all depends. Like I said, it all depends on the role that he's going to be asked to play when he comes in. I don't see him coming in right now when we're building this project and looking at it and being complacent about it. I get what you're saying, Couch, because I don't want any players coming in and thinking, oh yeah, you know, I'm just going to sit here and collect a wage. I don't think it's going to be that with Dybala, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? Yesterday we spoke about the fact that him and Poch are both from Argentina. And obviously Poch and the whole recruitment team will speak to him about the project and what they're looking to build going forward. I just don't see him coming in to be a passenger. I don't see that. I can see him.
Okay.
I can see him doing
here's the other
something.
thing. Here's the other thing to that too. Like, do you actually think that he fits the profile of a number 10?
That's my biggest question.
For Pochettino, because I don't think that his work rate's that high. Like he worked under Jose Mourinho last year, and I mean he played obviously, but
this is the thing though. This is the concern.
I don't know if he's a guy that's going to be pressing from the front, a guy that's going to be like, you know, running through walls and whatnot. Like I just don't see him that way. You know,
this is the concern. This is the concern that people have for what's his name, Cherky, that guy from.
I don't rate, to be honest. I don't rate him either.
Vega,
to be honest,
and Vega as well. They were the two things that people have been speaking about. Like, yeah, they can create and stuff, but off the ball, they're not. You know, are they going to give you that press from the front?
Vega,
you're going to get that with a lot of attacking midfielders.
Gabby Vega's being bought in my opinion, to do that sort of Mason Mount bit. He has got that element to him of working the work rate. From what I've seen of him, so he's a little bit different to a Dybala or a Cherky. I think Cherky's more. I'm not saying Hazard, but dribbling ability wise, he's got more of that in that role. If that makes sense, he's more of a dribbler, creates space, plays balls in, and whatever. Dybala, on the flip side of it, is someone that will pick the ball up, create for the player in front of him, and also arrive in the box and potentially.
Let's say
it might be a bit of Griezmann. That is the best way.
Yeah. All right. Let's say we brought in, I don't know, a Gabby Vega, for example, and then we brought in a Dybala. Would you be more open to it then, potentially?
Look, I'm not overly not. I wouldn't cry about him coming to Chelsea. I wouldn't.
Especially because of the amount. Especially because of the amount, right? Like it's just like it's not a major investment. But no. I really think so when you look at so Don, and I know how you stay still. So would you bring in Dybala if it meant somebody like Chukwuemeka or I don't know, Madueke have to go on? I don't know, maybe not Madueke, that doesn't make sense, but one of these younger talents that have trying to just started to pierce their way into the lineup.
No, I definitely wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't. 100% I wouldn't. So yeah, I want Carney to play. Do you know what I mean? You guys know how much I like Carney, so I wouldn't want to bring in a Dybala to stop Carney's development. But at the same time, I just don't think Dybala would come in and be complacent. Like we're not at that stage in terms of what we're looking to build going forward. You know what I mean? We're not going to bring in players that haven't got that commitment and don't want to graft. Do you know what I mean? Mason didn't want to graft.
Yeah.
So I don't see us bringing in someone that doesn't want to graft.
When you bring in Dybala, my real question in all of it, all right, forgetting the money side of it, is where are we going by bringing him in? What is it that we're bringing him to do for that? Is it just a 2-year contract, come in, bring a bit of experience with the younger players around him, the Madueke,
have some like Argentinian barbecue,
some of that Argentinian flavour in the team with Enzo or whatever. I don't know. Like, is that the aim? Because for me, Dybala coming to Chelsea is a short-term thing. It's nothing more than that.
And is he agreeing to a short-term deal at this point in his career? Like, is he agreeing to that?
Well, exactly.
You know, like, is he coming here to play for 2 years and then fucking off? I don't know. I think his agent could do a lot better than getting him a 2-year deal, and then saying at 31 we have to renegotiate. We'll have to see. I don't know. I don't know about that. But to be honest with you guys, I don't even really believe the rumors. So that's what it is. more so than the player coming and going or not coming. I don't even believe the rumor. I just feel like every time you hear, you get a new manager, you're always getting linked with players from the country that he's from and whatnot. And like, how many Argentinians have we been linked with in this window alone.
It's
just crazy, right? So
that's exactly how I looked at it. That's why I'm not looking any further than 10 million. Okay, low risk. Maybe you'll get a high reward from that. But yeah, in all honesty, boys, I'm not fully against it. I can't lie. Like if we was to bring him in, I wouldn't be, shouting about it. Like I wouldn't be upset about it.
Yeah, I hear you, but at the same time, for the reasons that I've said, it's kind of like I think the experience aspect definitely goes a long way, and the fact that he is, ironically, the fact that he's from Argentina does help as well. Ironically, right.
So I don't know, man. It's a funny one.
What I would say is moving on. I mean, look, we'll come back to that if there is any heat on it. I think he's going to stay at Roma anyway, but at the same time, we had to speak about it because there's a lot of talks in the last week or so about him as well. And like I said, there's no real reliable report that said of it. What Chelsea have agreed, which I forgot to talk about earlier on, is the Oman Air agreement with them, which is our new travel sponsors. Which is a good one. Which is obviously a good one for us. Obviously, it's not our actual team sponsoring shirts, which we're obviously trying to still work that out. Whoever that is, I don't know. I hope it's Allianz, to be honest. That's what I hope it is.
Yep. Allianz or Nintendo. Nintendo looks nice, man.
Nintendo looks nice.
I can't lie.
As well. Yeah.
I don't care who it is. It could be Mickey Mouse, man. As long as the P's are right, I'm good, man. I'm
you know what it is though? Oman Air. I've seen a few of the pictures of people putting Oman Air on the top, yeah. But apparently we're not allowed to have it on the tops. I don't know why. Why they're stopping it, because they stopped us from having Paramount. But yeah, I don't know what's going on there with this top. You know what I mean? I'm glad that it's not state, because number one, I think it just looks shit. I didn't like it on Everton's kit. Do you know what I mean? It looks shit. So I'm glad it's not stake.
It's falling apart, the deal with stake, from what we understand, but we'll see what happens with that a bit later. I want to just quickly go into what we have at the moment. Pochettino's obviously doing his press conference in the next 25 minutes. We'll be finished before that anyway. What's your thoughts on the next captain?
You're looking at him right there. You're looking at him right there.
There's a lot of talks around him, Pochettino potentially giving Reece James the vice captaincy role and allowing Thiago Silva this season to be captain. I'm not against that. I'm not against that. The reason I said it earlier on was because I think with Reece, I think he needs to find his availability is key. And I think he needs to go into next season. If he can go, because again, look, we're not playing as many games next season once a week. Lots of time on the training ground, working on your injuries, strengthening your muscles and whatever. You're going to have a lot more time to do all of these things in time. But I just think after next season, if Thiago Silva doesn't sign, it goes to him. And then my vice captain would be Enzo Fernandez. That's what I think.
You know what's interesting about captain and the role of captain? I think what is most important is being not just like an on-pitch ambassador, but also being a vocal leader. And I'm not sure. The only thing about Thiago Silva is I'm not sure that he's shown that yet. You know, I mean, he's an elder statesman. The guys respect him, and he has all of that. But in terms of like the guy that like is putting his arm around somebody and like speaking to them and getting them motivated and whatnot, I'm not sure he's showed that at Chelsea yet. But it's hard. It's his fucking guy.
I can't ever take him serious when he backs Lukaku and Aubameyang.
You know what though? Like you see with Silva, one thing I'll say, I don't know how strong his English is, but on the pitch he does communicate. Whether that's using his body language, pointing, shouting, especially when you actually watch him like live as well, you can actually see things off camera. Like he is a leader on the pitch. You know what I mean? Like I said, I don't know about the English side of things because I don't know how strong he is in terms of that. But he is a bit of a leader. But
to have a strong dressing room, that's what I'm saying though. Like all the stuff that you need, the intangibles and whatnot, you need to be vocal, and I don't think that he possesses that. Like he can barely speak English. He's a guy that is going to have to be the face of the club, like a guy that's going to have to be out in the media a lot, like just out in the public and be that public figure. And I don't know if he has that gravitas because he doesn't speak English well.
I don't get that. I don't get that perception from him though, Couch. I don't get the perception from him that he's someone that goes into the changing room and isn't one of the main guys, you know, speaking or giving team talks or whatever. I actually think
But
I think it's the opposite. I think he does all of that. I think he does
yeah,
all of that.
but it's in such a limit. Even if he does, it's in such a limited way because he's not the best. He doesn't. English is not his first language.
Yeah,
not even
that's
his
true.
second language. So
That's true.
when he's giving his message, it's not always going to be as heartfelt because he doesn't have the strongest grasp of the language yet.
Yeah,
So he'll be using like, this is what we need to do, as opposed to like invigorating the dressing room. I don't know. I'm speaking in like, obviously, like, you know, in I'm not 100% sure that that's what's happening, but that's my impression
in light terms.
You know?
Yeah, what I would say for me, I would feel more comfortable for that exact reason giving it to Reece. But the main reason why I'm skeptical of Reece is, again, going back to the injury record that Jem just mentioned. Like, this is a season where Reece needs to show us that he can stay fit. Obviously, we're bringing in Gusto, so I'm praying to God that we actually utilize him against certain teams, because obviously Poch is all about high intense, do you know what I mean, pressing, working hard. So naturally now, Reece James should hopefully slip back into his right back natural position, so he's not bombing up and down constantly like a right wing back. Do you know what I mean? We've actually got a winger in front of him who can do that for him, and hopefully that should help him. So I think with Reece, I think it would make sense for him to be the vice. Silva, if he does get made captain, I highly doubt he's starting a lot of the games this season. I mean, I've been saying this for a minute, but it looks like we're probably going to go maybe Fofana, and then you play Badiashile or Colwill left centre back, and then Reece will probably be the captain when Thiago Silva's not playing. But this is the season for him to prove that he can stay fit, because one thing you need with a captain, you need availability. Do you know what I mean? JT was always available. Azpilicueta was pretty much always available. You know, Cahill was always available. Just a few captains that I've gone through there. So
I don't think just having the armband means you're a leader. I think you look at like someone like Enzo Fernandez last season. I think he will continue it next season. He still shouts and gets involved and pushes the team, and do you know what I mean, drives.
There's many different aspects that make a captain. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't have to be shouting all the time. There's different types of captains. Enzo leads by example, and obviously he does shout as well.
I'm hoping that you guys understand that. Obviously, that is clear that you can lead by example. That is obvious, and that's what you will get from Thiago Silva. Is why that he wore the armband this year more than a few times, anyways. But for me, going forward, this dressing room, this Chelsea locker room lacks the vocal leader, the guy that can be like the galvanizing force, the guy that can get in the room and tell you like, "Yo, this is what we need to be doing right now." Be the on pitch like representation of the manager, be the extension of the manager. Those are the types of things that I think we need to have. Someone that can go to the referees and be like, no, this is what has to happen here, you know, and communicate that message effectively. This is just the job, like as a captain. And I think that might be lost a bit with Thiago Silva. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be the captain. I agree he should be, but
I think that's the same. They're the same problems you have with Enzo. Like right now, I know a few people have Enzo on their shortlist to be captain, but for me, as much as I see him as a leader, I just think that the whole it's important to be able to speak like English to everyone. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, he can speak Spanish, and we've got he's learning English, which is good, but he doesn't speak. He doesn't.
I spoke to him the other day.
You spoke to Enzo the other day, yeah? But no. With Enzo, obviously, again, the main thing for me, it goes back to the language barrier there. Do you know what I mean? I've got no doubt that if you know, we were a Spanish speaking team all over, that he'll be able to go in there. But you know, everyone needs to be able to speak English. Do you know what I mean? Nothing against Enzo. I'm sure he's learning, but that's a key skill you need to be able to do, like Couch has already spoken about. But the main thing for me is Reece James. If it wasn't for his injury record, I would have been saying him all day. But I just need him to prove that he can stay fit. That's what it is for me.
That's true. Odegaard's a captain for Arsenal. He ain't a specific, and this is why I keep saying he's not specifically like. He leads by example by his performances on the pitch. Not someone that's very vocal, John Terry-esque.
That's what I'm saying. There's different types of leaders. Like people, you know, you've got your Tony Adams. Do you know what I mean? That used to shout all over the place. There's different types of leaders. There isn't just one type of leader. You can lead, like I said, you can lead by example. Do you know what I mean? One thing about a captain, you need to be consistently given at least 7, 8 out of 10 a week, performance-wise. Do you know what I mean? You can't have your captain slacking. So when you look at everyone else on the pitch, realistically, it's only Reece that's been consistent since he's sort of broke through. Silva, we know what we get out of him, and Enzo, really. Chilwell, I can't. No, Sterling, no. Like, you can't give that guy the armband as much as he's experienced.
Nah,
So
Sterling ain't in it.
realistically, realistically, you're looking at James, you're looking at Silva, and you're looking at Enzo. So I reckon he'll probably be out of Reece James and Silva.
I am not putting Kepa captain, mate. Are you having a
Oh
laugh?
no, hell no. I don't like it when teams have their keepers as a captain, because you're at the back, you're at the back end of the pitch. Do you know what I mean? Your captain should be able to speak to everyone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like with Lloris, he probably had to pass information on to the centre backs and tell the strikers what to do. You know what I'm trying to say? So I've never liked it when keepers are captains. I hate it, in fact.
I know one person that really wants Kepa to be captain of Chelsea, and that's Winter Surfer, innit? Kepa, come on.
Nah, you're talking about Aussie Matt. Man like Matt.
No, don't talk for Winter Surfer. Got a Winter Surfer, innit? Kepa, innit?
If you're talking about the ship he just bought Chelsea and it's sailing into the ocean, then yeah, sure, he could. No problem. Just to this skipper thing, I'm caught in two minds. I think I sometimes I lean towards like the international way where they just give it to the best player. Yeah. Really, because I always remember, like, if you think about Eden Hazard, captain of Belgium, you don't really see him being that vocal at all.
Yeah, but it's the respect that he carries, though, man.
So
it's the respect he carries.
I always think it's like the best or the most respectful or something like that. Because all in all, when we talk about a captain, we're not talking like they're like a cricket captain or a rugby captain or something like that. They flip a coin and they shout. You know, sometimes a bit, but they're also like, someone said it before, it's like, it's more like a symbol of them, if they play well, it sort of lifts others around them, sort of thing. Or if they don't play well, and my captain's not playing well, why should I? And stuff like that. So it's really, I think it's really important, though, whoever Pochettino picks, someone said it previously, so I do apologise, I can't remember who said it. It's really, sometimes managers pick the guy who represents them on the pitch. Like, remember with Alex Ferguson?
Facts.
He chose Roy Keane because he was literally his voice on the pitch. And that's the difference. I mean, I feel sometimes the modern day captaincy is just given around, like, to get a bit. I don't care if like Kepa's been here longer than anyone else. He should never be captain. I don't like goalies as captains in the first place because they're stuck in one position sort of thing. Yep. You know what I mean? And it's like I just wouldn't have that. I mean, we're short of leaders and stuff like that. I mean, I presume it's going to be Thiago Silva just because it's the obvious choice. But remember, there's also like they've got this weird thing now where there's club captains and then there's captains on the pitch sometimes.
No, it's the club captain. No, that's not exactly how it is. It's club captain. And then if you don't play, the vice captain usually gets the armband for games. Yeah, so it was under or John Terry, or when John Terry was club captain and never played.
John Terry was club captain, but Cahill was captain for that season, and other way around when it was Cahill's last season under Sarri, it was like Azpilicueta was the captain. Yeah, sort of thing.
That's what I can see happening because if Silva doesn't play, sorry Andrew, if Silva doesn't play as much, then if Reece James gets made the vice, then you're going to see him with the armband.
I don't know why people think he's not playing as much.
There's only two centre backs you can start, Jem, and again, like Fofana, we've spent all this money on him. There's only two. Well, yeah, right. There's what Chalobah, I reckon, is going to move on. In all honesty, I think he's gone. I think he's a goner. We're not gonna.
Do you not think though, Don? I think this is Thiago Silva's last year, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think he's gonna play a lot, even if we're playing once a week. I think it's an experience thing. He'll be used more on that side and a coaching side, sort of thing.
Yeah.
With like, especially with someone like Colwell and something like that. And he'll play big. I think he'll play the biggest games, Thiago Silva. I think he'll play the biggest games that we play this season in terms of the league and stuff like that and cup. But I can see him sort of not being the first choice.
You could see rotation. If I'm being honest, what you could see is rotation. Yeah. I think he still plays personally. I think Fofana will come in. I think it'll be a rotation between two. You've got to remember, there's one game a week, barring when we play FA Cup, Carling Cups, and that gives us the twice a week. So, there will be a rotation between it. I just think this thing of Silva won't play much. I don't think it's going to be the case. I'll be honest with you guys.
I think they'll be selective. there'll be selective games, like Andrew said. I think there'll be selective games where he does play, but going forwards, I think he would have had that conversation with Poch. Maybe even him at this stage, he probably thinks, do you know what? I'm just happy to play when you need me, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? I just get that sort of feeling. But I could be wrong. But I just feel like this is his last season. Only because again he's not getting any younger, and again we've just spent what 80 million on Fofana.
Yeah. It's a natural phasing in. I think this season's a natural phasing out and phasing in when it comes to sort of someone like a Cole or Stays, of a phasing in, more of like Thiago Silva phasing out, not completely. Like I said, I think he'll play the biggest games what we have.
How are you going to play the biggest game? But here's the thing I don't understand with that. How are you going to play the biggest games if you're not playing regularly? Like, you need to have match fitness in order to play the biggest games. I don't necessarily buy that.
When I say he doesn't, like, when I say he wouldn't play biggest game, doesn't mean he's like won't be on the bench or something, right? So I would say that he would like still come in and stuff like that and be like a sub and stuff like that.
But that doesn't happen with center backs.
Biggest games,
like we rarely see center backs get subbed in, right? Like that's the thing. So this is what I'm saying. If he's playing, I think he's going to get a run of games, and then when he's tired, he's going to be out. Exactly, a run of games. It's not going to be coming for this game and then going for this game.
I don't see him playing Luton away unless we're injuries or something like that. I see him like
but he wouldn't play. But Luton's not in the league, and he wouldn't play the first few rounds of the.
Luton's in the league. They got promoted.
Oh, did they really?
They got promoted.
Oh man.
Yeah, they want to play us.
Play that then.
I'll be going to Luton.
I think we have to.
That's right. They did get promoted.
Great as he is at the age he is, I think there has to be some type of plan of moving on from him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but also these players need to gain the experience from him. Cole's meant to be coming into Chelsea, right? And there's a lot of people.
Right. That's why I'm not saying you don't play him and like you don't keep him around and stuff like that. What I'm saying is
but I'm just trying to figure out what. I'm trying to figure out what this plan is. Like,
I just think he plays, and I think he'll be rotated.
I don't know. That's the thing.
That's the way
I think we'll find rotation. I think we find rotation, but like how you define rotation is going to be difficult because for me,
especially if you're going to give him captaincy, you don't give him captaincy to then not play him a lot and only play him in certain games. Does that make sense? If he is going to get captaincy, if he does, I think if he's confirmed as captain into next season, I think he will just continue playing, and then he'll just not play some games like he has done. You know what I mean? And just be sort of reshuffled with Fofana, and then Fofana will come in and play and whatever else, which is good. We want competition anyway. And even though he is old, and I agree, we're going to move him on probably from next season, we still want to keep people having to challenge for their roles, whether it's a Silva there or if it's a blimmin' someone else there, right? So, and that's why I kept saying about the Badia Shield and Levi Colwill thing, because a lot of people who like Levi Colwill, and I do, I'm not saying I don't, think he just comes and automatically starts. I don't think he does. I think you look at Badia Shield and you look at Levi Colwill, and we've already looked at the stats of both of them earlier on, and you look at their ages and whatever. And I think what we've got there is just general competition between two players. When they're given the opportunity, will they take it? And that's the way I think Pochettino could potentially play this. And I think Colwill has to accept that as well. If he's going to sign a contract with Chelsea, come and play, but challenge, push yourself, get better.
I'll bet money. Yeah. I'll bet money at the start of this season. The center back pairing is going to be Fofana and Thiago Silva. I'll put money on that. And then as the season starts to develop, it's just gonna be more rotation from there. But I think we're gonna start with Fofana and Thiago Silva.
I think that'll be poor if you have two young left center backs and Thiago Silva still starting. It doesn't make sense.
Well, it's
the thing is, I think the Colwill conversation is very simple for me. He's not asking. I don't think he's asking to be put into the first 11. He just wants a conversation of what the plan is for him this season.
Just rotation. Just rotate.
Yeah, that's fine. If Poch says, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna see you there. I'm gonna give you a chance," like that, I think that's just a normal conversation, right? That's what it is.
Yeah, it's fair.
And even if he has to lie to him, just lie to him. You know what I mean?
Competition isn't forever, right? So for me, the club wanted him to sign a contract right now, when he has 3 years left.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't make sense.
Exactly. So, it's like, let's see what you can. Here's a chance. We've cleared. Trevor Chalobah's probably going to go as well. So your pathway's even. Koulibaly's gone. So your pathway's even clearer. Thiago Silva's probably on his last season. So essentially, you are battling two other players. Essentially, That's all you're battling. And
Yeah, essentially really won,
Yeah.
right? So this year you can battle Badiashile for it. Whoever loses probably leaves. That's the way battles go.
Here's another thing.
You're not gonna have them battling for 5 years straight.
Yeah. Here's another thing.
True.
Play for us this season, so we get more. You get a chance to play more games next season because we want other competitions. So just do that as well. So it's a squad game, and then I tell you what, establish yourself, and if you play well, I can't drop you then, can I? Do you know what I mean? Unless it's for injury or just a cup rotation or something.
Oh, if you're playing shit for the last, if you played shit for the last 2 games, just get dropped. Just get dropped, and you can bring the next person that's there in ready for the challenge. That's what it should be like, I think. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with the defence and the captaincy. I think the captaincy is going to be key, whether it's Reece James.
Fuck it. Give captaincy to Levi Colwell. Let
me Kepa. No, I hope not. Living out.
Oh man.
Yeah, unfortunately, our captain, our on-field captain for most games is probably going to be Kepa. And I know people are going to hate that. I'm telling you, that's going to be the reality. Is he's not even
in the running for captain.
Yeah, he's going to listen. He's probably going to be second captain or second captain or third captain, but. Because
goalkeepers as a rule, Dan. I just don't like goalkeepers as captains.
Exactly. It's the worst decision that you can make. Not even just for Chelsea, just in general.
Listen.
How can you make a goalkeeper captain that can't even put
Kepa as captain is horrible. But listen,
Dan, how can you make a goalkeeper captain that can't even control his own box from corners? Think about it. It's true though, isn't it?
Can't control nothing.
I was saying he can't even control his own. He don't even talk. So many games.
How are you going to expect people to listen to you when you're going to concede long shot after long shot after long shot? You're just looking around and you're begging, not even begging. You're demanding this guy to go and do something. But it's like, hang on a second, why can't you do your job? But then you're expecting me to do mine.
Plus, how do you trust his hand? How do you trust his hand signals with those biscuit wrists? You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on.
But he's gotten it, guys. He's gotten it before. There's rumors
under different management.
Different manager.
No. Listen, I'm saying there's rumors right now that he's involved. Or he might be captain. I'm not saying he's going to be main captain, but I definitely see him being one of the vice captains, and ending up like kind of like Georgie, right? Where Aspie was captain, but Georgie was captain most of the time, really, because he was.
Yeah, that's because he was the vice captain.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's like Kovacic as well. Remember when he got it as well?
Yeah, that's only because Jorginho left though, and then it was like, oh, who do we actually make captain? It would have probably gone.
Kepa got it. I think Kepa got it a couple of times. I think he started a couple of games as well as captain, or one at least he started.
I better not see that shit again. I don't want to see him at the club, let alone as the captain. Do you know what I mean?
I think it will be a Silva, James. I think that's the easy answer in all this when it comes to captains. I get what Dan's saying about Kepa, maybe a third captain or whatever. Maybe that.
I do get it because he's had it before.
But this whole Onana thing has annoyed me a little bit. The fact that we've allowed it looks like he's going Man United. Maybe that's because we don't look as goalie spending that much on the goalkeeping position because we want to use that for a striker. I don't know, but we need to see that, right? Because once you get Caicedo in, there's still other things to do. It's just what do they prioritize as being the next
screw
big
Inter,
thing?
Jim, man. Inter such, trying to get Lukaku on the cheap for another loan fucking thing, and then pricing they're gonna price out for no, screw him, man. Screw him. You know what I mean? I'm sick of dealing with Inter, man. It's just
we have a better relationship with AC Milan, don't we? We have a better relationship with AC Milan.
We do. We should sell him to AC Milan. That's what we should do. Then screw him up like that.
Pulisic. That's what I was saying to Couch. Remember the conversation that we had about Pulisic? I'm glad that he's humbling himself because I expected him. I expected him to do this because he's not at that stage where he's going to just sit down and collect a wage. He needs to play. Do you know what I mean? He's still a big marketing name.
In my opinion, I think he's making the wrong decision just based on this. And the reason why I say it is he's going to basically walk into another team where he's going to have to fight for his place. He's taking lower wages and the prime of pretty much approaching his crime, taking lower wages, fighting for his position, where he could leave next year on a free and then decide where his fate can go rather than who can afford him, essentially. So I don't know.
Yeah, but that could be a massive risk for him, though.
Yeah, could be.
That would be a big risk. If you think about it, he's definitely not in the plans, right? And this guy can barely even stay fit. So there's no guarantee that if he sticks around, doesn't get any game time, that a team like Milan will even come in for him. Do you know what I mean? Because even Leon.
I think you missed the most important point.
Here's the part, Couch. Number one, he starts in Milan. Milan competes for league titles. You know what I'm saying? Pulisic.
He's got no right.
Who's he replaced?
He'll probably start on the.
He's gonna start
right.
on the right. He's not gonna start over Leao. Obviously, Leao is king there. But
they've got no right wing. That's why they always go down the left.
Yeah, they're looking at that guy from what's his name? Valencia, man. What's his name? The guy that starts with a C. Yeah, they're looking at him as well. They're building a nice little attacking squad there. You know,
I think
they're building a nice little attacking squad.
Him, but either way, he goes there. He starts. He gets his I think he just needs his confidence of playing every single game in a slower league. I think he'll cook there. You know what I'm saying? I don't see that.
Yeah.
Like one more year on Chelsea's bench, playing here or there. You know what I mean? And we know he cares about the social media, the media, the fans, all that. Getting abused every. There's no point in doing all that.
Yeah, there's no point at all. He's not benefiting anything.
Why even do that? Just leave.
But two things, right? I said it in this first interview. Don't want paraphrasing it, but doesn't want people that don't want to be here, right? Doesn't want to work with them. So he doesn't want to be here. You get rid. You don't waste a year letting them do whatever they want to do and stuff like that. And also you're forgetting, he's got to re-release that book with the Chelsea chapter. You know what I mean? The new paperback version. So he's got to write all that.
I'm just saying this. No. You go into training camp. No position's locked. I would say, like, everyone has an opportunity to fight for their position, fight for their place. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I've been talking about pretty much the entire off season. Like, fight for your place. If I'm Pulisic, I'm putting my head down, like we saw Christensen do, like we saw Rudiger do. I'm putting my head down and I'm fighting for my place. And then when it comes time to negotiate a deal, I have the world as my oyster. I can go, okay, well, I don't need to be pandering to this, taking less wages. I don't need to pander to this whoever can afford to pay 25 million pound or whatever. I'm looking at what is the best situation for me. And it's just whether or not you think that he can fight for his position.
The thing is, chapters just come to an end sometimes. Like, Pulisic has been here. A lot of his Chelsea career has been stop, start, injuries. And now he's part of that crop that, he might not be one of the toxic ones that was leaking things and that, but he is part of that crop that we've just kind of looked at and aren't going to take us to that next level. They're not bringing what it takes to be a Chelsea player. Do you know what I mean? They're not bringing what it takes to win the major trophies. Do you know what I mean? So I think with him, he's probably going to look at it like, sorry, Andrew, let me just finish my point, bro. He's probably just looking at it thinking, do you know what? It's just time for a change now. It's actually just time for a change. Like the season that just went was the time when what you're saying is true. Like, put your head down, graft for it. But he ended up getting injured again. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think on both sides, it's just time. Like, time's up. Do you know what I mean? You've had enough chances now. Time is up.
That should be commended. I feel you. He should be commended as well. You don't want to stay here. Try and get out. An opportunities arise. He's trying to get out, and that should be commended. Yeah. I'd rather someone do that than like sit around or put extra demands on the club when he's trying to leave. Like, I'm only going this place or something. Go, and I think that's fine. I think. Listen, we're talking about last year of his contract. His value's not that high. I think we're getting something like over 22 million euros or something like that. He is, he's not favoured. I just think it's a good deal.
AC Milan, they're a big club. Do you know what I mean? He's going to go play with Ruben. He's going to go play with Tomori. You've got Tomori there as well.
This season. They sold Tonali and they're reinvesting this season to go for Serie A title again. So
they're in the Champions League as well, isn't it? They're playing Champions League football next season, right?
Well, they are.
Yeah. There's that as well. So and Milan, from what I've heard, Milan's a nice city.
Someone said it.
Guys, I want to shoot because the press conference on for Poch as well.
Yeah.
Let's get over there and watch that. I know Prime. You always come in lastminute.com, mate. I can't do nothing about that, unfortunately, bro. Right. big up every single one of you guys, as always. Big love. It's been a good little show. We will hopefully have more Caicedo news next time round anyway. So we'll see what happens next week on that. And anything else that happens in between that, obviously we'll come back to you with as well. It's been a good little show as well, guys. Nearly done 2 hours. Talk to you in a bit. Go over to the Poch first interview as well, which is going to be happening anytime now. Press conference, sorry.
Hey, Jem,
Yeah.
what's the timing of the first Mount question? Do you reckon? What do you reckon? How many minutes
1
into
minute
the press
50.
conference till he gets the first Mount question?
5 seconds in. I mean, Mount didn't hold back yesterday, did he?
Yeah.
By saying that he weren't in his plan. Chelsea wasn't in his plan. What just bollocks. Anyway, we'll move on.
I ain't mad at that. He realized he wasn't in the plans. He was coming off the bench.
It wasn't in the
See ya,
plans
Jem.
because he probably wasn't getting the 275k week that Man United decided to give him, and Chelsea didn't want to give him. So yeah, we move on.
He's not in the
Yeah,
plans
that
because he ain't getting no
Yeah,
starting
guys.
position anymore.
Love,
Take care
subscribe,
yourself.
and like.
Big love.